As a freelance music video director, a lot of us have certain milestones that we want to hit. Some people want to make a certain amount of income every year from video production. Some people actually want to shoot their favorite artists. And some people just want to buy a new camera. Once we usually hit these milestones, we just kind of feel like we're on top of the world at this point. These milestones comes in different shapes and sizes, little or big. It's still a milestone that we all hit, and honestly, it's something that we should all be proud of. Me, on the other hand, I hit my most important milestone of the year, and that was shooting my first ever industry music video. And today, I'm gonna give you guys 5 important things that I've learned while shooting my first ever industry shoot. So for those who don't know, the artist that I recently shot was NoCap. I've shot one of his biggest singles thus far, which is called Overtime. Right now it's available on his latest album that he has out, Still Human. First things first, I have to give a huge shout out to BLB, the person who put me behind this project. As you guys don't know, he's a commissioner now for Atlantic Records, so he's been able to help upcoming videographers shoot more artists and be more in the industry work frame. Without his help and his contributing efforts, I would have not been in this position at all to shoot NoCap. I have to give all thanks to him and his team for helping me and bringing me on to shooting this project. It was an amazing, amazing experience. I just have to say that once more. Thank you so much. So the first thing that I've learned personally was to ask every single question imaginable, even the dumb ones. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. So keep in mind, this is my first industry shoot. I wanted to make sure I asked the right questions as possible. And I needed to really make sure I had an understanding of every single thing I was doing. There was some moments in time that I decided not to ask those questions, and it kind of bit me in my rear end at the end. So I'm telling you guys this to make sure to ask the most, ask every single question. If you have a question about anything, ask that question. It's super important that you know what you're going into when you're doing these shoots. Do you have to get a contract for this? Do you have to sign this? Do you have to fax this? Do you have to get this person's number? Do you have to book this? Do you have to do it? Ask every single question imaginable, because it's going to help in the long run. It's better to know now than find out later, trust me. Second, get a very good producer. And not only a good producer, somebody who's extremely familiar with locations around certain parts of the city or where you're from. And keep this in mind, the shoot was in Mobile, Alabama. And keep in mind, I'm not from there. I've never been there a day in my life. So me understanding that I'm gonna be over there shooting a video shoot, I said, okay, let me do some research and see what studios I could find over there. I couldn't find anything. It just seemed so dead over there. Like you can even go to Peerspace, you type in Mobile, Alabama, you can't find anything. So this is where a producer comes in place. I was very thankful to have Emil Wilson as my producer for this project, because he did one hell of a job. He found me a great location, he got all the props, he got everything I needed. He made my job a lot easier, and my job was solely just to direct and make sure everything goes well. So guys, make sure you get a very solid producer. For any shoot that you're directing, always get a solid producer. Make sure they just know everything around that city from head to toe, and they know the best locations possible. Because trust me, they can save you a lot of time and money. Number 3, have a backup plan for everything. Whether it's a backup model, backup location, a backup storage unit, because sometimes it could crash. A lot of things can go bad and you just don't know. So what you need to do is just have a backup plan for everything possible. So this is where you have to keep in mind that you're shooting an artist, you're shooting a very well-recognized artist. You have to keep this in mind. So you need to really have a lot of stuff in the back end just in case something happens to go wrong, because it could go wrong. No shoot in the world goes perfectly planned, executed every single time. Something has to change at least at one point. You know what I'm saying? So I would say always, 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 always have a backup plan for everything possible. You just do not know what could go wrong. Number 4, monitor your budget very closely. Now this is very, very important. I need you guys to really pay attention to what I'm about to say. When you're dealing with labels, you're gonna get a certain percentage of the budget. You're not gonna get the entire budget. Let's say you get 10,000 and they're trying to give you 75% of that 10,000 or 60% of that 10,000, you have to work with that budget. So keep this in mind, you do not get everything up front. So that means you have to work with 75 or 65 or however much they give you in that budget. And you have to work with that and make that work. And then you get the rest of the percentage afterwards. So keep in mind, you're basically shooting the entire video off that 65 or 75 or however. You're basically shooting the entire video off that amount. So because of you shooting that entire video off that amount, you need to really monitor the budget very closely. So you have to keep in mind how much you're paying the crew, how much you're paying the producer, how much like for food, expenses, ours expenses, your expenses, travel, hotel, like how you're staying, living expenses, all of that. That has to be kept in mind at all times. So you have to be extremely close to the budget as well. You have your producer as well that's why you pay your producer to monitor the budget wisely. At the same time, you need to monitor it as well and make sure everything is on point. Number 5, everything needs to be checked and accounted for. As freelance videographers, we have this amazing privilege to kind of do whatever we want sometimes and not get in trouble for it. In this case, when you work with a label, we don't have that privilege no more. I'm gonna keep that a buck. When it comes to shooting these very high profile artists, you are going to be experiencing a lot of paperwork that you have to sign off, like talent release forms, model release forms, let's say they're wearing Gucci. And sometimes they could be wearing a Gucci shirt, like it can show the designs on it and stuff. But if it says Gucci, the actual brand name, that has to be covered. That has to be blurred out or something. That means they don't have clearance to have Gucci in the video. So that has to be signed off. Some cases they may just do it. Some cases they're not gonna do it. They just don't want to even go through all of that paperwork. So all of that has to, a lot of stuff has to be signed off. Even when dealing with the video, I noticed there was a lot of new things that I was exposed to, like production insurance, liability waivers, all this stuff that I just never knew about. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is something very interesting. So I was like, I'm gonna keep this in mind next time whenever I'm doing more high-end productions. So I have 2 honorable mentions that I just wanna say. Guys, make sure you know how to make a great treatment. Guys, labels really love great treatments. I am very fortunate enough to know that I know how to write a very decent treatment and know how to make it look good. Please, and I kid you not, you guys need to practice your pre-production and your presentation when it comes to getting these gigs, because labels just really choose the best treatments. Regardless of me knowing whomever for me to get this shoot, I still needed to write a very decent treatment for me to at least get booked, because at the end of the day, these people have to review it and see if I'm really the guy they want behind this project. So that's one honorable mention. Make sure you know how to write a really good treatment. Another honorable mention is realizing that you are officially in a different criteria in your career. So having a conversation with B, he mentioned to me that I'm officially competing, and not competing really, but I'm officially head-to-head with certain directors like Director X, Colin Tilley, a lot of big directors now that I have my name stamped onto this project. So I cannot afford to waste time. I cannot afford to do certain things. This is now or never right now. And it made me realize this is real life. Like this is all I've ever wanted. So you are officially in this circle of directors really trying to get to the top. And honestly, it's a lot to really hold on to, but you just always have to keep this in mind that this is all we've all ever wanted. The best things in life is gonna come with a hell of a lot of stress. So I just want you guys to know this. So basically, this was 5 things that I've learned from doing this video shoot. It was one hell of an adventure. I just want to say shout out to my team for helping me out. Shout out to Six, Stilo, James. Shout out to y'all boys, because without y'all, I would have not got this done. Shout out to the Grip team. I honestly forgot the name, but I'm gonna link them down below. But I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody who was a part of this project, who was able to help me out. I hope you guys learned a lot from this video, and I'm gonna see you guys later.